With me now, two witnesses to the shooting, Amy and Jeremy King. They were there at the event yesterday. Hello to both of you. I'm glad that you're able to speak with us. Jeremy, I want to start with you. You were in very close proximity to Charlie Kirk. Tell us what you saw and how you've been able to process that since yesterday.
Well, we arrived shortly after Charlie got out of his vehicle, so we were maybe 50 feet behind him as we followed up the stairway through the hall corridor, out a door, and down to basically the front row. So we were sitting approximately 20 feet away. The shooting occurred approximately 10 minutes into the Q&A. It was the second question asked of the night. And we were just settling in. We were excited for this debate. We have an open mind on a lot of these subjects that they were talking about. And he unfortunately did not get to get into it very far before we heard a pop. And it took me a second to realize it was gunfire. And everyone just dropped. Amy dropped. And I stood over her for a moment as I scanned. We didn't know if it was a single shot or if there was going to be additional shots followed. And so that was the scariest part of the whole night, was not knowing what was going on, that moment of chaos. You know, you asked, since the event, you get clarity, right? We know Charlie was targeted, but at the time we didn't know any of that. And that was really hard to process.
Amy, did you just freeze, or did you know that it was a shooting?
I knew immediately because I was looking at Charlie when he was speaking, and I heard the shot from my right and just saw immediately him fall back. And I froze. I actually didn't get down. He actually pushed me down and said, get down, and my phone was still on. And the video, you can hear me just saying, oh my gosh, they shot him. It was just complete shock. I mean, you see things like this on TV, but when you're actually in that event and they're witnessing, it's a different aspect that you see it compared to if you're at home watching it.
And Amy, then there are reports of, we know he was shot in the neck, that his hand immediately went up and then he fell back, as you described, and there was a lot of blood. Did you see security on him right away?
Yes, his bodyguard, I never saw his hand go up. I just saw him fall back. But his bodyguard and his team around him swarmed immediately and just grabbed him. There was probably 5 or 6 guys on him within seconds, and they immediately took him to his SUV. And our closest exit was right behind Charlie, and that's why we were right behind him, because it was our closest exit.
Jeremy, what are you hearing from other people who were at the event, again, almost 24 hours later? What are they saying? What are you all talking about?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of conspiracies floating around. I think it's too early to tell. I think it took us a moment to realize, again, that the shooter was not right there in the crowd. That was our immediate concern, was, again, is this a mass shooting event? And later on we saw video of the guy on the roof, and so our next thought was, how do you have these events moving forward? How do you canvas such a large area? The amount of rooftop, the glass, there was just 100 different places where someone could hide out, waiting for that moment of opportunity to take a shot like that. So if we fundamentally change the way we do things, the way we do gatherings, or are we able to get ahead of that using, I don't know, drones, AI? We were surprised not to see a detail outside of his immediate, almost like crowd control, right? Where was the perimeter security and the rooftop guards? I think Charlie at this point has a big name, a big following. He's very controversial. So there should have been more going on outside of his immediate detail.
Yeah, it's such a good point, and many people have raised that. Do you need to move things indoors? But, I mean, when you look at the mass crowds that someone like that can gather. Amy, I'll get a final thought from you, and that is where you see things going from here. There are calls to tone down the rhetoric, but at the same time, we know that there are people who are very angry about this. Some people are saying, this is war. What are your thoughts and concerns moving forward around political discourse and the ability to have these meetings and discussions?
I think it depends. It doesn't really matter what side you're on. Violence is never the answer. I'm a mother of several young kids, and this world that they're growing up is completely what I grew up with. And so we need to teach our young kids, our teenagers, every one of them, that violence is never the answer. It doesn't matter if you disagree with someone, you can listen to them respectfully and just have an open ear and disagree with them quietly. That's what my takeaway is. I'm not on any side. I want to hear people open to discussion about this. But at the end of the day, violence is never the answer to solve any problem.
Amy and Jeremy, again, I thank you both for your time today, and I'm glad that you're okay. Appreciate you being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.